Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of GameTracks. This channel is dedicated toward video game music spanning across all different genres and all different gaming platforms. I'll break down 4 different games. One will include my personal favorite, and I'll just kind of discuss what I like about each song. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo. Let me just start off saying this game was amazing. I mean, it was just awesome in all fonts. The graphics were insane. The sound was just absolutely incredible, and you really couldn't expect less from the company that brought Donkey Kong Country or that entire series to the Super Nintendo Rare. I mean, they were incredible. It's where they really started to shine, of course. They made great adventure games, and then they also made an insane fighting game. Now, I never owned this game until later on after it was released, but I did get to play it at a friend's house, and like I said, I was just blown away, especially coming from a Sega kid. I mean, this game was just like, oh my god, like why can't they put these kind of games on Sega? And of course, I found out that, the Super Nintendo was much more powerful in pretty much every font, but that didn't stop me from playing it. Like I said, I love this game. The soundtrack was just insane. It was one of the first soundtracks that actually had lyrics in it, at least what I actually saw. I mean, I was just blown away. I couldn't believe there was actual singing and all these different samples they were using, and the bass, everything about it was just freaking awesome. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this game. I mean, it really does bring back a ton of awesome memories, but one thing I can never forget is the sound itself. I mean, the sound was so awesome that the freaking game came with the soundtrack that, pretty much had upgraded versions of the songs, or like the arcade versions of the songs. And I mean, they really sounded pretty close in comparison. You can tell that they literally squeezed out every single piece of power they could from the Super Nintendo to try and duplicate every single sound in that game. And once again, that's why I'm talking about it today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring to you Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks. Killer Instinct was released in 1995 in North America exclusively for the SNES. Graeme Norgate and Beanland were the duo that created the legendary soundtrack. In all honesty, considering the arcade cabinet was a 64-bit powerhouse and the SNES was a 16-bit console, I believe the music ported over pretty freaking well. In fact, it was so good that for the first 100,000 people that purchased the game, you got the Killer Cut soundtrack on a compact disc that gave you arranged versions of each track. I used to compare the two, and some of the SNES versions, in my opinion, sounded better. Glacius Theme. This is one of the tracks that I personally believe is better than the arcade version. It just sounds a bit more hip. I just love all the cool sound effects in the track. It really brings it out and gives it that arcade-like quality. Easily one of my favorites. Orchid Theme. Now honestly, I'm not particularly a huge fan of this track, but I can't forget how impressed I was by it. This was the first SNES game that I played with full-blown lyrics in the chorus. I was blown away. I know it's only a few words, but in the 16-bit era, this felt revolutionary. Sabrewolf Theme, another extremely impressive track. What really stood out to me was the quality of the instruments. Obviously, there was some noticeable compression there, but nonetheless, the orchestral feel was there. It really gave off that vibe that you were fighting a monster, and it could not have been done any better. Very fitting to the character. TJ Combo's theme, my personal favorite.
Such a cool hip-hop track. Now this one didn't sound as cool as the arcade version, but it was really close. You couldn't help but bob your head to this track. My favorite part is when it breaks down into the beatboxing. Such a cool effect, and it was done so well, especially on the SNES. What a classic track.
Alright guys, that was my Killer Instinct episode for the Super Nintendo. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you like the tracks that I chose. And if you're really digging the channel, feel free to hit that likes, comment, or subscribe button just to kind of help support the channel. And once again, it'll motivate me to create more content, come up with more ideas and different things like that. Once again, I really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. I hope you guys have an excellent week. Thank you very much.